is going to go to that.
So this right, I just turned to this right. It says the Lord have created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not arbor them.
Mm-hmm.
So medicine, he didn't. So like herbs and stuff like that, right?
Everything is mixed food.
All right, testing 1, 2, 3.
Even
Testing 1, 2, 3. I think we up, y'all. I think we good to go. Y'all. We should be okay. We got some people coming in. Y'all throw up a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me and I sound good and everything like that. And then we'll move on with class. Of course, you can get your questions in, and we'll rock. We'll rock like that. Shout out to Yakar, already in here. Where you coming from? Texas. All right, Texas in the building. And yeah, we'll rock like that. Matter of fact, I'll check it myself.
I'm checking it.
Okay.
It's so out
It's good?
on YouTube.
Okay, good. All right, no sweat. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start the class, and we'll be right back in 1 second. I'm going to get everything ready. All right?
Get down here to class, 1232 North King Street, Wilmington, Delaware.
Shalom, Lord Christ, to my brothers and sisters, man. Y'all need to come down to 1232 North King Street, where the truth resides, man. ISUPK Delaware. We definitely representing doing some big things.
Right? 202 North DuPont Boulevard in Smyrna, Delaware.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Come and be a part of this rising thing that we got going on here in Delaware.
I hear everybody claiming that they love the Lord and love God and all that. Well, get in here and show it. You know what I mean? The scriptures say faith without works is dead. So if you ain't doing nothing, your faith is dead. So get up and do something. What you need to do is get your ass up and get in the class. You understand what I'm saying? You ain't doing nothing else. You're sitting home wasting time. Everything is going on around you, and you don't know how to compartmentalize these things. You understand? I'm on my way to class right now, like you should be. You know what I'm saying? Class don't stop for nothing. All right, let's get it, man. Checking in from Georgia. All right, let's get it. All right, so before we start, anybody got any questions before we get into the class?
No, I don't remember.
Mm-hmm. All right, so what we're gonna talk about is wisdom, man, because we don't exercise the wisdom that we're supposed to exercise. This is what leads us, behind in a lot of situations. And the Bible talks all about wisdom all the way through it, and how by sticking to that wisdom, we were able to overcome the situations that we went through, on our journey here on this earth. And long as we, like when Moses said that to keep the commandments, could you know what scripture I'm talking about? When I think it was like not Genesis, it's Deuteronomy 4, where it says this is your wisdom and the start of the nations. If you can pull that real quick for me. And that's what this whole thing is about. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just don't understand the things that we should be understanding. Why? Because we look at T.D. Jakes as a man of God. You know what I'm saying? We look at Creflo Dollar as a man of God. We look at our neighborhood preachers as men of God when they're not. You know what I'm saying? Like what they teach us is things that are against God. Christianity is completely against God. And I understand, like, in certain times, like, it might have been blind spots along the way that, our people might have had, back in the day. But now we're living in a time where those things aren't blind spots anymore. We can completely get the truth now, and we got to make sure that we try to seek it, because a lot of people just, we get smartphones. We don't do nothing smart on them. We just want to, sit back and watch short videos all day and scroll the internet, when what we should be doing is getting in class and getting the wisdom that could actually free us and actually put us in the position that the Lord actually wants us to be in. All right. Let me see. You got that? Yeah, let's get it.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me.
Right. The statutes and the judgments, the commandments, right? The the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. That's our governmental structure. Like, we got to stop looking at it like, well, man, it's just a bunch of rules that the Lord wants us to follow that we can't keep. No, the commandments is our foundation of our nation. Every single nation has the rule of law. You have to have the rule of law, right? The Russians, they have a rule of law. They have a law that they go by, and they have rules, right? The Chinese, the Japanese, they have rules. You think that a Chinese woman is gonna get on TV and say, Chinese men ain't SHIT? You know what I'm saying? Chinese men need to do this. They need to do that. You know what's gonna happen to her family? They're gonna get rounded up and took into jail. That's what's gonna happen, right? Because they have rules. They have laws. They have a foundation that they're gonna go by. And you're not going to go and do what you want to do. And that's what we need to have in the nation of Israel. We need to have, our women shouldn't get on TV and say, the black man ain't this, the black man ain't that. You know what I'm saying? And likewise, the men shouldn't get on there and say, the black woman ain't this, the black woman ain't that. You get my point? Like, we should have laws that we go by that should govern us, and that's how we should move. Every nation does it. Go ahead.
Speaking of the nation of Israel, is that part of us?
What? Which one?
The Israel that's in war right now.
No.
What Israel is that?
That's the Jewish man. That's the Jew. Those are the converts from the Khazarian Empire. They converted back in like the 12th century, like the 12th to the 15th century, somewhere around there. They converted to Judaism. Because it was a time when they were going against what empire was that? It wasn't the Ottomans. Was it the Khazari? It was one of them empires. I can get it for you though. But it was one of them empires where they converted because they had a fight between Islam and Christianity, and they chose. You can read a good book about that, man. It's called The 13th Tribe by Arthur Koestler. And it talks about how they adopted Judaism so that they would be separate from the two warring factions of people. You know, you had the Arabs and then you had the Christians who were warring at that time. So they said, well, we don't want to be Christian because if we're Christian, we're subject to the Christians. And if we're Islam, we're subject to the Arabs and all of them. So we'll adopt Judaism. That way we won't be either one of the two religions, the two major religions at that time. And that's what they did. And so when they adopted Judaism, they had it. Okay, you know how like when we say that they're not the real, you know, the Jewish people, we say that they're not real. They don't understand it because they've been Jewish for a long time. You know what I mean? They can go back. But the real Jews, we went into captivity after captivity after captivity. They've been able to hold on to it because they had never went into captivity. Like it said, the prophesied that the real Jews would. So they're not the real Jews. They're just occupying that land, and that land of Israel is really ours. Right. Go ahead.
So we are the real Jews and they are Jewish.
Mm-hmm. Like if I told you was acting childish, it wouldn't mean that you was a child. It would just mean that you were acting like one. Right. So they're Jewish, you know, so they're not the real Jews. They're just acting like them. That's why, you know, when you see where it talks about the Jews are black, that's why they wear like the long black coats and stuff like that, because they read that the Jews are black. And so, you know what I'm saying? They're like, okay, well, we'll put the coats on. They read about Samson and how he had braided locks. How, you know, these braids we put in our head. Brothers put in. They read that, so they say, okay, well, we'll wear the curly locks on the side, you know, like Goldilocks, you know, and they try to imitate you, and that's why they're at war right now, and that's what the Lord is doing. Everything that we see going on is the Lord doing that to set us up for Christ's kingdom, and eventually, once it happens, we'll be over there in that land, and we'll be ruling the rest of the earth. You know what I'm saying? And Christ will be ruling and sitting on his throne. Let me see. All right, no sweat. So, well, go ahead and keep reading. Go ahead and keep reading.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 5. That ye should do so in the land whether ye go to possess it. Verse 6. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations.
Right. The nations don't look at us as having wisdom. You know, they look at us as a bunch of niggas, a bunch of stupid niggas who, you know, who can't get off of weed, a bunch of dumb people that, you know, can't stop, you know, committing crimes, a bunch of people that can't, you know, and it'd be so crazy, man. Like I hate it so much. It's like we turn into little children around police. You know what I'm saying? You got brothers that's, you know, in their 40s still running from police. It's like you're running from the belt. Still running. Like at some point we got to stop running. At some point we got to stop committing crime.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? At some point we got to stop smoking weed. Go ahead.
Well, we learned all that stuff from the
Mm-hmm.
people looting, stealing,
Mm-hmm.
doing crime. We learned that. We was brought over here. They let us see stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, when we got free, we just started doing it.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right about that. We learned how to be gangsters from them. They were the first gangsters. I got a book right. Let me see. Where is it at? There's a book here called it's called the Encyclopedia of Gangsterism, and it's basically all the gangsters throughout history, and none of them are black. They're all like, you got the Albert Anastasia, you got the Murder Inc., you got the Firm, you got what's it called, the Teflon Dons, you got John Gotti, all of those things those personas that we take on because that's who we want to emulate. We want to emulate those people that oppress us and the people that are in charge of us because, you know, that's just how it always ends up being. All right, so whenever you get ready, all right, we got Zakaria Van Gad in the building. Shout out to you. And we got Houston in the building. All right. Shalom, sis, what's going on? All right. And so we're gonna go to, and the commandments is our wisdom and our sight. And the minute that we understand that, we'll be a lot better off. Like when you come into this truth, you're instantly gonna start having brotherhood. You come into this truth, you're instantly gonna start having sisterhood because you're gonna know the truth. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get off of drugs. Those are the things that got me off of drugs, was understanding that I'm bigger than the plant. Understanding that I have brothers and sisters that are around me that are fighting the same fight that I'm fighting. And that's what made me want to get into the truth and made me want to change my life. Because otherwise, nothing ever is going to happen. And so when we look, you ever notice like when you go into like an Arab store or Chinese store, their counters are real high. A lot of them counters on the corner stores, they be high and they look down on you every day. And I always felt like, you know, when I would go into those stores, I would feel like, man, you know, I'm tall, so I didn't have to really go through that all the time. But I would see like how it is. It's like the counters would be high, and then we look down at the people like they were, you know, like better than we are. You know what I'm saying? And we would come in there like, can I get a blunt? You know, they got all the blunts we need. They got all the, just like kids. They got what we got? We got strawberry blunts, we got melon, we got grape, strawberry. I'm like, what is this? You know what I mean? Like, it's like it goes back to what I've been taught, is that there's no such thing as a black community. You know what I'm saying? And because we don't regard the commandments or anything, we have no such thing as a black community. A community is, if you look up the definition of community, it's a group of families that control the environment and control the politics, control the businesses, control the housing in their neighborhood. And what we see in our neighborhoods is we don't control the ownership of our houses. We don't control the ownership of our businesses. You know what I'm saying? We don't control our law enforcement. We don't control the politics. So what does that mean? We're just existing in a place that we don't own. And then what happens? We commit the crime, we use the drugs, and guess what happens after that? More police. And that's what all it is. And that's the answer to all the problems. Let's just keep locking them up because these people don't have wisdom. These people, you know, but if we had that, like the scriptures say, then they wouldn't look at us the same way because they would be like, okay, these people, we can't just go in there and handle them any kind of way because these people have wisdom. These people are not going to do that. So, you know, we would eventually, you know, our situation would change if we just started taking on wisdom. All right. You know where I wanted to go. Yeah. Wisdom of Solomon, the 10th chapter. Yeah, you can drop it. Was there any more on it? Go ahead, finish it off.
Just a little bit more. Which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
Right, because we would know how to deal with other nations. That's what the scriptures show us. It shows us how not to be the butt of the joke every damn time. It teaches us how to be able to take control of our lives and be serious about our safety, be serious about protecting our women, be serious about everything that we do so that we always move and we do things with always with in the back of our mind is what's in the best interest for us. And that's it. You know what I'm saying? Chinese people don't move that way. They move like, hey, what's better for us? What's in this situation? You know what I mean? How are we going to come out on top? And, you know, the minute we get off of, you know, drugs, you know what I'm saying? The minute we start to understand that the way this place looks at us, then we'll start to change. Go ahead. 10. And we're talking about wisdom. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about wisdom. The young men should get wisdom. You know what I mean? We're gonna start at 1. We're gonna read some different. We're gonna read some different times wisdom worked for our brothers and sisters in the before. We're gonna see how wisdom brought them through those things that they went through. And as long as we keep that, as long as we keep wisdom, we should be good to go, no matter what we do. All right. All right. So whenever somebody, who we got? We got Chastity, Lindsay. Checking in from Illinois, Lancaster, Texas. All right, we got a lot of Texas up in here. Let me see. Who else we got? Yeah, Austin, Texas, Houston, Georgia. All right. 10-1. Go ahead.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 10, verse 1. She preserved the first form of father of the world and was created alone, and brought him out of his fall.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 2.
Who was that talking about? Read it one more time, but slow it down.
She preserved the firstborn father of the world that was created alone and brought him out of his fall.
That's Adam. That's talking about Adam. You know what I'm saying? Like wisdom brought Adam. Like people be like, whoa, man, Adam was he's the only person that would ever existed on the earth in the beginning. No, the whole story of Adam and Eve is about when Adam was given wisdom and how to live. So now Adam knew, I'm not going to eat a camel. You get my point? I'm not going to eat a damn eagle. You know what I'm saying? He knew chicken, you got to go. You know what I mean? Turkey, you got to go. But he understood wisdom. And that's how Adam was created. He was spiritually created, right? Keep going.
Verse 2. And gave him power to rule all things. Verse 3. But when the unrighteous went away from her in his anger, he perished also in the fury wherewith he murdered his brother.
That's talking about who?
Cain and Abel.
There you go. All right.
Verse 4. For whose cause the earth being drowned with the flood, wisdom again preserved it, and directed the course of the righteous in the piece of wood of small value.
Who's that talking about?
God.
Nah, raise your hand. Go ahead. Go ahead. Read one more time.
Verse 4. For whose cause the earth being drowned with the flood, wisdom again preserved it.
Right. Wisdom preserved it. Go ahead. You raise your hand. Go ahead.
You talking about Noah?
There you go. You know what I'm saying? Like wisdom preserves it. You get my point? Like it's always about like how wisdom brings us through. Like leaning on the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Leaning on what's right. The wisdom that the Lord gives us. Like when you lean on these things, the things that we go through, and we're reading about our forefathers and the things that they went through. When you lean on wisdom, it's always going to bring you through. But we don't lean on wisdom. Like, you know what we leaned on? Like instead of saying segregated, we thought it was better to be integrated. And now you see the after effects of integrating into a system without power. Chinese people can be integrated into America because they had Chinatown in every major city. You know what I'm saying? The East Indians can be integrated because they have all the Dunkin' Donuts from coast to coast. You get my point? All the 7-Elevens from coast to coast. You get my point? Like they have all of the hair beauty supplies stores. You get my point? From coast to coast, because you can integrate into a system. But if you don't have power, then guess what's going to happen by default? You're going to become the consumer. And that's what we become in America, a class of consumers. And that's all it's about for Black people. In the system that we so supposedly integrated into, we're just the biggest consumers that you can name. So now what happens, Stocks? You get money, and guess what you're going to do? When you're rich, you're not going to buy 80,000 acres. 100,000 acres, 200,000 acres. You're not gonna do that. You know what you're gonna buy? A Fendi belt. you know what you're gonna buy? A car with rims and lights and stars that you can look up and see. You know what I mean? Right. You're gonna look at your name. That's all you can do. You got $1 billion and you're still gonna complain about not getting an award. That's the craziest thing to me. Jay-Z was complaining that Beyonce didn't win Album of the Year, and you're a billionaire. Tell me, why wouldn't you just buy your own, get your own academy of people to vote on albums, and you can make her the damn Album of the Year every year? But it's because we still seek the validation of our oppressor. Even to this day, it's like the general broke down to us. It's a paternalistic relationship that we have with the oppressor, and all we want to do is seek love from our daddy. That's all it is. Go ahead, keep going. Let's get some more on it. Read it one more time from where you at, young man.
Verse 4. For who caused the earth being drowned with the flood?
Mm-hmm.
Wisdom again preserved it.
Right, wisdom preserved it.
And directed the course of the righteous in a piece of wood of small value.
Yeah, that was the shit that Noah was on. Go ahead.
Verse 5. Moreover, the nations in their wicked conspiracy being confounded, she found out the righteous and preserved him blameless unto God. Him strong against his tender compassions toward his son.
Right, that's Abraham. Go ahead.
Verse 6. When the ungodly perished, she delivered the righteous man, who fled from the fire which fell down upon the 5 cities.
Who's that talking about? We're reading about how wisdom preserved our forefathers. How when they leaned on wisdom, they were brought through. They survived. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Lot.
There you go. That's right. Go ahead. Keep reading.
Verse 7. Of whose wickedness even to this day, the wasteland that smoketh is a testimony.
Right, because what's that? Sodom and Gomorrah is destroyed, right? Man, and that's the testimony, right? Keep going.
And plants bearing fruit that never come to ripeness. And standing pillar of salt is a monument of the unbelieving soul.
That was Lot's wife. She turned. You know what I mean? That's the monument right there. When you don't believe, that's the monument. You turn into a pillar of salt. And how long have we been salt? How long have we been that pillar of salt? For a long time. I'm tired of being under the oppressor. Man, who we got in our class, man? A dude that's Greek. Ouch. The Greeks, the Antiochus. Antiochus. We got Antiochus Epiphanes in the class, right? And when I look at him, I'm like, it's a Greek. You know what I mean? That's a Grecian. You know what I'm saying? We was in captivity under them. And I see a Roman because he's like, yeah, I'm Italian. Roman. You see what I'm saying? Right. I'm bigger than both of them. But how are they able to conquer me? A whole army full of LeBron Jameses with swords. A whole army of black people with swords. You know how black people get it on? How are they able to conquer us the way that they do? How? It's because we don't regard wisdom. And because we don't regard wisdom, we lose every time. Like the scripture said in the beginning when he said that this would be our wisdom in our sight, in the sight of the nations. The nations know that when we don't have wisdom, we're easy to be conquered. And so what does that mean? When you got a people that's conquered and don't have no say-so on anything, you know what you get? You get men with fragile egos. And those fragile egos, a brother will shoot you and kill you. A young man will roll up on you if he feels disrespected and he'll blow your brains out. Why? Because he knows he can't do that in Greenville. He knows he can't go to Greenville and do that. He can't go to Hockessin and do that. But where does he have power? only to destroy his brother. A sister, she only has power to destroy her sister, because we don't have any power here because we don't have wisdom. So now that's all you can do is we can just hurt each other, because everybody else, like, think about it, right? A brother will come, like, if I start selling weed or crack or whatever on a block in Wilmington, somebody's gonna come and say something to me. Somebody's gonna walk up to me and be like, yo, why are you out here? You can't be out here selling that, right? You know, this is our block, right? Then somebody come up to me quick, but the Chinese man is selling chicken wings out of that store on that corner, making over 500,000 a year. And that's on the low end, Tosh. That's on the low end. That's not even people, you know, and I was talking about this last week. The Chinese store that, you know, I get wings from occasionally, they'll stop taking calls after like 9 o'clock. They open to like 11, 11:30, 12, something like that, but they'll stop taking calls. It's because they're making too much money and they just can't keep answering the phone. So they'll just stop. And then the only way you can get in there is if you actually physically go up there in the store. And what does that mean? That they're trying to stop making so much money. They're making so much money that they're like, look, I can't keep answering the phone. We got too many people coming in here. You know, y'all just don't have to come in. So what does that do? That takes away a lot of the calls, right? A lot of the people that's calling, they can't come in because they might not have a car or they might be too far or something like that. So that kind of cuts off that group. I got a car, so I can hop in my car and shoot up there or whatever, and then see that they're still at the front taking orders and people in there. But that just shows like how much money they're actually really making. And somebody will come up to me for trying to hustle on the corner selling a dime bag, but somebody else is on the corner making, you know, $1 million a year off of our chicken wing money is crazy to me. And nobody sees that that's an issue, right? Go on, keep going.
Verse 8, for regarding not wisdom, they got not only this hurt, that they knew not the things which were good.
Right. Okay, when we don't regard wisdom, we get hurt. That's what the scriptures is telling us. Because regarding not wisdom, we also got this hurt. Keep going.
But also left behind them to the world a memorial of their foolishness.
That's what you see. Like, the memorial of our foolishness is this. Market Street Mall. That's the memorial of our foolishness. Because all up and down that business is all Chinese businesses. When we look into our neighborhoods, that's a memorial of our foolishness. Because you can look at it every single day and see how foolish we was. You look at our situation with segregation, our situation with civil rights, and it's a memorial to our foolishness. When we voted for Joe Biden, we stood in long lines because we just wanted to get Donald Trump out of office, because Joe Biden seemed like he was less racist, because he seemed like he more like black people. And it's the memorial to our foolishness, because we've been under Joe Biden for 4 years, and he's been giving so much money to the Ukraine that he's just the president of the Ukraine. And guess what? And our people like, well, when are we going to talk about reparations? And you know how it never goes to the floor? They vote on it. You know, they had people. What about the reparations that they were supposed to get in California? You remember that? They're like, oh, California about to get reparations. Until they get elected, they be like, well, we ain't going to do that. Because that's what they understand. That's the memorial of our foolishness. Everything that we experience in America is a memorial to our foolishness. And now you're about to have, they said that Joe Biden's approval rating is down, but it's still up amongst black people. Why? Because he allows us to be homosexuals. He allows us to be, you know, transgenders. He allows us, even right now, it's a big controversy about them banning menthol cigarettes. But you know why they're not going to ban them? Because they're saying that if he bans menthol cigarettes, it'll hurt his voter base. And guess who his voter base is? Black people. And they're saying that if he takes away menthol cigarettes, black people are not going to like it. Because what are menthols? Newports. That's what it is. Newports. We smoke them, right? Smoke them if you got them. Isn't that what they say at the job? Right? And they understand that those are the things we care about. We care about menthol cigarettes. We care about our bedroom. You know what I mean? Who we can have sex with. We don't care about, how much land we can get. You know what I'm saying? We don't care about, how much resources we can take advantage of, right? We don't do those things. We just worry about, who can I sleep with? And I don't want nobody to be able to regulate my bedroom. You know what I mean? And those are the things that we care most about. And it's all at what? Say it one more time.
Memorial of their foolishness.
There you go. Keep going.
So that in the things wherein they offended, they could not so much as he hid.
Right. Because we have social media. You can't hide it. When we get pulled over by the cops, it's on social media. Right? The cops pull you over and some sovereign citizen says, you can't pull me out the car. Why? Because I have a license that I made. Right? We're gonna beat the old person with paperwork. Maybe that'll work. Think about that for a second, man. We try to beat the oppressor with paperwork. That is the most misguided people I think that we have. One of the most, because they actually think that the oppressor is we're going to beat him. We're going to win our freedom through paperwork. No, because before the oppressor hands this place over to black people for paperwork, he'll burn this place down, and he'll be the president of a heap of trash. Before he let you get this land for paperwork. No, it's not going to work. Right? The only thing that's going to work is us regarding wisdom, and the Lord will fight for us. And we'll get out of this situation because we'll say, whoa, we're not going out on Christmas. We're not celebrating Christmas, right? That's money that we're not going to spend. Whoa, I'm not eating pork no more. All the pigs got to go back, right? Then they're going to be like, what's wrong with black people? Oh, we're not voting. What we need to vote for? Ain't nothing happening anyway. What we need to vote on? You get my point? We need to get land. That's what we need to get. We don't need what's that called? We don't need more jobs. Ain't that what they always say? Gotta get them jobs. Whatever happened to we need to finance people, getting business, getting financially free through an economic boost of the so-called the people that we had in slavery. You get my point? But to give a person a job, that's not nothing. That's not going to change anything. And that's what they run on every single 4 years. So we got to get more jobs. We got to get black people working. We've been working for 400 years. That is the problem, right? And that's where we at, man. That's why it's a memorial to our foolishness. And the things that we do is dumb. It can't be hid now because we on social media, right? Go ahead.
Verse 9. But wisdom delivered from pain those that attended upon her.
It said when they said that we knew not the things that were good, I'm gonna back you up a little bit, but those were the things that we would have benefited from, right? The things that were good by keeping the commandments. You know what I'm saying? Because if we kept the commandments, we wouldn't harm each other. You get my point? We wouldn't kill each other. If we didn't kill each other and we didn't commit crime to each other, then the whole justice system would fall because it runs off of us anyway. Right? When you got how many of our people is in prison right now? Anybody? You just throw it out there. Anybody? What? Go ahead.
Couple million.
Yeah. I'm saying to give me like a rough percentage of out of 100. How many black?
Probably like 65%.
Black and Hispanic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mexicans, black, Hispanic, all
Yeah, that's more than half. Right. So you just throwing that out there. That's more than half. That's more than half of all the people in America are in prison. Well, we have more people, more than half of the percentage of people that's in prison in America are black and Hispanic. That's crazy, right? But if we knew, hey, we're not supposed to sell drugs to each other. We're not supposed to shoot and kill each other. We're not supposed to do this. Then the judges wouldn't have a job. The bailiffs wouldn't have jobs because we wouldn't be going to court. Everybody, the whole system is built. When you really are in the truth for a while, if you really see America is built off of our backs. That's it. The whole thing from the ground, from the up down. Go ahead.
Well, slaves built this country.
Mm-hmm.
We built the White House. We built everything here, the railroads, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's when I say built off of us, means that this place only runs off of our oppression. That was more what I was getting at. Let me get, y'all know which one I want. Let me get the Psalms 83. The Psalms 83. But hold that, but let me go back to something. You had want to say something?
Well, I wanted to say, sir, I was looking at the stats, the statistics on prison rate. It says African Americans are incarcerated at more than 5 times the rate of whites.
Damn. And that shows you right there. You know, I've been to prison. You know what I'm saying? It's only black people in there. Black people, you know, you might have a few, you know, white people in there, you know what I'm saying, here and there, but most of it is black. You know, you got gang members, Muslims, brothers from the hood. It's all of us in there. And most of the COs, like, well, in certain parts, but most of the COs are white. When you go upstate New York, you know, the prison upstate, they're white, but down in the city they're black. But you know, but the people that's in management positions are white. Go ahead.
The number is 1.1 million African American men are incarcerated in the United States, and it says there's an estimate of the likelihood is 1 in 3 that a black man will.
Yeah, they know you're gonna go. You know how they know? They know because they know how if you're gonna go to jail from going to school when you're young in school. They know if you can't read, you're going to jail. You can't write, you're going to jail. Because where else you gonna go? Go ahead.
Have you ever heard of the school to prison pipeline where there's a lot of white teachers that will call your child, you know, special ed, and then, you know, put them in these classes, medicate them, and then it's easier for them to like fall through the cracks and end up becoming, they felonize our youth early. And then next thing you know, you're on probation the summer that you're going into this grade, and then before you know it, you're in jail.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because you know, like you ever see schools? They look just like a prison. They look just like a prison. You go to the cafeteria, look just like the prison. You in the halls, you up all day, you sit in a room, you in line, just like prison. When you in prison, you walk in the line. You walk in the line, you stand in the hallway, you stand in line, you do what you gotta do, you go to the mess hall. Same dynamic, it's the same thing. It's no difference, really. They're just getting you ready from one step to the next, right? What was that one? I wanted
Psalms 83.
Psalms 83. We talking about. I was getting to the point about how the nations all come together to conspire against us. Go ahead. Whoever got it. Psalms 83. Want me to read it? No, you got it. No sweat.
All right, this is the book of Psalms. Chapter 83, verse 1.
Okay. People coming in.
Verse 1. A song of Psalms, Slaki. Verse 2. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. And consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Right. That's what we see today. Now keep going. That's what we see today. We see the nations. This is what David is saying. The nations are conspiring together to come against Israel. And that's what we see today in America. We have this. This is why America is set up the way that it's set up. So when Asians come here, they go to the hood. They go to the hood. When Arabs come here, they go to the hood. When East Indians come here, they go to the hood. You get my point? Like they're there because they consulted together with one consent. And that's to cut off Israel. So they cut us off everywhere we go. So the banks, they give loans to them, right? And not us, right? They cut us off at every single point, whether it's politics, whether it's the police, keeping us in line and keeping us from getting out of line. Every nation is here and it runs off of us. So the prison system is ran off of black people. The court system is ran off black people. The consumerism from high fashion, people like, Gucci, Fendi, Louis Vuitton, them places, they ran off of black people. The stuff we make hot, they use to their advantage to make their brands hot. The cars that they create, when black people get a hold of them, we make it hot. make other people want it. Music, you know, movies, entertainment, any part of entertainment. This whole place runs off of us. Go ahead.
If I may, sir, like in verse 3 where it says, and they have taken crafty counsel against thy people. That's a heavy one right there because it shows how like welfare, you know, teaching to put the father out of the house and you get more money. That's that crafty counsel. You know, teaching our light skin versus dark skin. Just the whole crafty counsel comes into play also through religion.
Absolutely.
That's why we, you know, we got so many different religions. That's crafty counsel. Because, you know, one would say, well, I feel better to follow this, or I feel, and another one would say, I feel better to follow that. So all of that is a part of that crafty counsel to divide us.
That's heavy you said that, because the crafty counsel was like they actually have think tanks. You know what I'm saying? They have think tanks. Like, you ever heard of Zbigniew Brzezinski, right? Zbigniew. It sounds like I'm saying the big new Brzezinski, but his name is Zbigniew. It's like some Russian dude. Zbigniew Brzezinski said it's easier to control 1 million people than kill 1 million people, right? He was like an advisor to like Nixon and all of them, and he gave them like the kind of counsel that, you know, presidents needed to like be able to attack certain situations with black people. And they understand, like, we go to work and get off. You know what I mean? You go to work from 7 to 3 and you get off for the rest of the night. They have think tanks that are thinking 24 hours a day how to destroy you and how to keep you in subjection. So they'll say, you know what, we'll give you Black History Month, but we'll only showcase the people that contributed to society that we benefited from. Right. So we learn every February about Garrett Morgan and the stoplight. Where's the black family that's quadruple trillionaires? Where are they at? It ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because I know every single country has a stoplight, right? Don't every country have a stoplight? Where's the family that is a quadruple trillionaire from heart surgery? When black people was the ones who, you know, started doing heart surgery and taught them how to do it. The automatic gear shift. Where's the quadruple trillionaire that is because somebody, a black person, invented the automatic gear shift, right? Where are they at? And it's because it's a condescendingly way to celebrate the accomplishments of black people. But they say, go ahead, be happy about all your accomplishments that you made during the month of February. But after that, let's get back to diversity and inclusion. Let's get back to, all coming together and being one rainbow coalition. That's the problem, because we regard not wisdom. Read a little bit more on it. Let's find out who was a part of it.
This is verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom.
Ooh, that's the oppressor. Go ahead.
And the Ishmaelites.
That's the Arabs, huh? All the liquor stores, right? Keep going. All the gas stations. Keep going.
Of Moab.
The Moabites. All the chicken spots, right? All the beauty supply stores, right? Keep going.
And the Hagarenes.
That's another group of Arabs. Go ahead.
Gabal.
Somebody look up Gabal. I think Gabal is another tribe of them too. I could be mistaken. Go ahead.
And Ammon.
That's the Japanese.
And Amalek.
Right, that's the Jewish.
The Philistines.
The Africans.
And the inhabitants of Tyre.
Those are all also Africans. Right? Go ahead.
Ashur also has joined in with them.
That's the Assyrians. Keep going.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
Right. So that's all them coming together. And that's all the nations we see. Go ahead.
Sloppy, if I may, Gabal in the blue letter says Gabal is a region in Idumea. So that's
Edomites. Yeah, they're Edomites. So there you go. Those are all the people that we see around us right now that's benefiting off of us. Africans too. You know, when we buy them dashikis and we want to go to Africa and move over there, and we just love Africa so damn much, they benefit off of you too. You think that Africa really wants, how many of us is here? Like 16 million? You think they want 16 million people coming to Africa? Nope. Because guess what happens? If that happens, that means that you got 16 million people injected into the economy. And when you have 16 million people injected into the economy, that means that you're going to have conflict with the people that are there. And it's going to be a fight for resources. And what's going to happen? War. We're going to go to another side of the world and have to go through war because we're going to actively be inserted into their economy and actively be competing against them. For what? Women. For what? Resources. For what? Housing, land, different things like that. So they don't really want all of us to come back to Africa. They want some of us to come back to Africa. So that they can use that as a way to boost tourism, as a way to get us over there to create businesses that they can benefit from. That's what it's all about. Go ahead, you had your hand up.
I was my understanding that civilization started in Africa.
Okay.
So
right, but that doesn't mean that we're the same people as those people. Like, do you hear white people saying, "Man, we got to go back to the motherland"? They don't do it because, matter of fact, let me just switch it up. The people that are here, right, that came and founded America, right? Where did they come from? They came from Great Britain, right? They were the British, right? The British came here and they fought and they basically conquered and took over the 13 colonies, right? And those 13 colonies, they said, you know what? We signed a Declaration of Independence, right? And Great Britain, the Queen of Great Britain was like, what? Nah, that's subject to the Queen. You get my point? Y'all can't do what y'all want over there. Y'all gotta pay y'all taxes. I'll run that over there. And you know what they signed? A Declaration of Independence, right? And in this Declaration of Independence, they fought and they got free from Great Britain, right? And now America is the #1 superpower on this earth. Do you hear anybody in America saying we got to go back to Great Britain, man? That's the mother of us all. No, they don't do it. When are we going to sign our Declaration of Independence? We have this like affinity with Africa because we think like, okay, this is the mother of us all. This is what African has came over here to free Black people. You get my point? None, not one. You know what they come with? Jordans, fake Jordans. They come with watches and CDs and every bootleg purse that they can sell you. You get my point? Because they know that they're not Black people. We're like, we got to get away from this. Matter of fact, we have to, when are we going to sign our Declaration of Independence? Right? We've been over here 500 years. It didn't even take that long for the British to be over here to say, you know what? We're going to sign a Declaration of Independence because we're independent from you. You have no vested interest over here, and we're going to not be a part of you. You don't hear nobody in America say that, man, we got to get back to Great Britain, man, because that's the mother of us all. And I get what you're saying. But that's one thing that you got to shake. Like when you start to understand about us being Israelites, you get my point? Yeah, we're not the oldest nation. The scripture tells you that. Yeah, we were what was it? What was before the Egyptians? Who was before the Egyptians? Who was before the Egyptians? The ones that came with the Enuma Elish, the Sumerians. Oh, right, yeah, the Sumerians. You want to go way back, right? Like the Sumerians and all of them. Yeah, they were here before Israel. You're right. But that doesn't mean that we're them. You get my point? Like the scriptures say, if somebody can find it where it says that we were the youngest nation or the fewest of people. You know what I'm talking about? Sure. Yeah, if you can find that for me, please. But that's no slight against anybody who say that. But yeah, I mean, of course, yeah, they were the first people. We're like the youngest nation, but we're just not Africans. You know what I'm saying? And that's the one thing that keeps us jacked up because we keep thinking like, well, these are our people. But when I was at the George Floyd protest, it wasn't nothing but Black people there. We went to, what was that? We did security for, Dr. Umar. Uh-huh. We did security for Dr. Umar, Rizza Islam. Rizza Islam, a cat from the Nation of Islam. Brother Ben X. He's another brother from the Nation of Islam. Not Polite, Red Pill, Blue Pill. A lot of them cats from the conscious community. We did security for them at an event, right? and they was super, super duper African, African consciousness. You know who was all there? Black people. There wasn't no Africans in there, no Africans nowhere. I went to the what's that the brother that got choked out, Eric Gardner. I went to his they had it right down there in Wilmington. It was the I Can't Breathe. A bunch of people was laying on the ground taking selfies and saying hashtag I can't breathe, right? When I looked around, I'm there. Because I wanted to see a protest in real life. I went down there, I was standing there off to the side, I'm looking, and all I saw was black people. The thing is, we got to realize that we're all we got here. And once we realize that, of course, we got brothers in Africa. So let me say that. We got brothers that are in Africa. We got brothers in Vietnam. We got brothers all over through Europe and Asia and Africa. But at this time, we more focus on us here, because I know that there's Israelites here. I know that there's brothers here. I know that there's sisters here. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, eventually we will get back. You know what I mean? We'll be back over there in Africa. We'll be in different places, wherever we're going to be at. But at this time, it's like, more of our people, if we're so stuck on Africa, man, that we just can't seem to get out of it. Go ahead.
Sorry. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 6 and 7. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because ye were more in number than any people. Right,
because remember that the Egyptians, they were more in number. The Africans were more in number. I mean, most of the regional Africans that were there, they were more in number than we were. Go ahead.
For ye were the fewest of all people. Verse 8. But because the Lord loved you.
Because the Lord what?
But because the Lord loved you. And because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, after the Lord brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt.
Yeah, and that's why. So it's like, you're right. You're absolutely right. Like Africa, man, that's where it was. That's where it started at. But we're just not them. You know what I mean? We're different from them. And man, I tell you, that was the thing. Once I understood that, and coming into the truth, it was like one of those things that I tried to shake. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to shake that, because before I came into the truth, I was on Africa. I was what? You look. He knows, that's my nephew right there. He knows. I used to have African jewelry on, African, you remember that? Them African necklaces, bracelets, all that wood. Pause. I had a bunch of like wood chains, all that. They used to be like, damn, for a light-skinned brother, you represent Africa like crazy. That was me, because I went hard. I love to see them gold caskets and those pyramids and all that stuff. It made me feel great. I was like, man, our people did that. Our people, is in those gold caskets. But then I came into the truth, and I saw otherwise. And I was like, man, that stuff is nice to look at, but those are just different people. You know what I'm saying? And we got books here where they can show you where they knew that we weren't Africans, since we started. Go back to Wisdom of Solomon, and we're gonna finish out. Let me see. I think he was at read the let me see. Read verse 8 again.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 10, verse 8. For regarding not wisdom, they got not only this hurt, that they knew not the things which were good, but also left behind them to the world of the memorial of their foolishness, so that in the things wherein they offended, they could not so much as be hid. Verse 9. But wisdom delivered from the pain those that attended upon her. Verse 10. When the righteous fled from his brother's wrath, she guided him in the right path, shewed him the kingdom of God, and gave him knowledge of holy things, made him rich in his travels, and multiplied
his travails. Right. So who's this talking about? Anybody know? It's talking about Jacob. I saw that. So now we're talking about the things that our brother Jake, our forefather Jacob went through, right? Let's see. We're talking about the things that our brother, our forefather Jacob went through, right? Keep going. Keep going.
Verse 11. In the covetousness of such as oppressed him, she stood by him and made him rich. Verse 12. She defended him from his enemies and kept him safe from those that lay in wait. And in a sore conflict, she gave him the victory, that he might know the godliness of is stronger than all. Verse 13. When the righteous was sold, she forsook him not, but delivered him from sin. She went down with him into the pit.
Y'all know who this is talking about?
Joseph.
Yeah, it's talking about Joseph. Go ahead.
Verse 14. And left him not in bonds, till she brought him the scepter of the kingdom.
And that's when he became like the viceroy of Egypt, which is like
Emperor.
Not the emperor, like think Obama and what's his name?
Biden.
Joe Biden, right? At the time, he was the president, and Obama was the president. Joe Biden was the vice president at the time. So to think that, so that's what Joseph was. He was like the vice president of Egypt. Go ahead.
And power against those that oppress him. As for them that accuse him, she shewed them to be liars and gave him.
Go ahead.
Perpetual glory.
And gave him perpetual glory, right? Because remember he went into jail because the woman tried to lie. Remember she lied and said that he tried to get with her when she tried to come on to him. All right, but all what we're reading about is situations that our forefathers went through and how they leaned on wisdom, right? That came from the Lord, and because they leaned on that wisdom, everything that they went through, the Lord is basically what the Lord is showing us here is that everybody who leaned on wisdom came through. So when we see like the things that we go through in life, we look at it as like, damn, this can never be fixed. This is a problem that's way too big. And that's what Satan shows you. Satan only shows you that part. He doesn't show you the part that is gonna be when you overcome it. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're dealing with a situation, you're like, man, how am I gonna pay these bills? But then like, you know, a month later, 2 months later, you're still back on top. You're still getting through. Why? Because you're gonna be good when you lean on wisdom. Since I've been in the truth, I have not been broke. You know what I'm saying? Like since I've like in the world, I've been broke for a long time. Like people be like, man, I'm broke. I've never been broke. You know what I'm saying? I know what that means to be broke, but I haven't been broke. Why? It doesn't mean that I have more money. It doesn't mean anything. It just means that I don't cherish money and I just move through life. And when the Lord is with you, you're not gonna fail. Go ahead. You had your hand up. So,
I was just thinking when your nephew was reading and everything, I think it was, I don't know why it's saying she, like
she is wisdom. It's represented like wisdom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the she is wisdom. Like when you'll hear like metaphors when it says like she's clothed with the sun and the moon, or man, what's that one? You know which one I'm talking about? The one in Revelations when it says
Come out of her.
Like come out of her. Nah, that's talking about America. But it says
there was a woman clothed with the sun.
Yeah, the woman clothed with the sun. Yeah, if somebody can bring that up, just to help the brother out. The woman, she was clothed. Hold on, I'll see if I can find it.
I got it.
Okay.
Revelation 12:1.
Yeah, that's it. So in the Bible, you'll read like when it says like a woman, it's talking about wisdom, like she like a woman. Go ahead.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven. A woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet.
That's symbolizing wisdom. Go ahead.
and up on her head a crown of 12 stars.
Right. That's the 12 stars. That's the 12 tribes of Israel. Right. Keep going.
And she being with child cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered.
Go ahead.
And there appeared another woman wonder in heaven.
Okay, so you can stop it there, but because that's going to go into that when she said she's pain to be delivered, that's talking about Christ.
So like this, I can go down to verse 5 where it said,
go ahead.
And she brought forth a man child
who
was to rule all nations.
That's Christ.
With a rod of iron.
Right.
And her child was caught up unto God and unto his throne.
Right. That's talking about Christ. Right. So now you see like the Bible, like in metaphors, when it talks about like wisdom is she. Right. Go ahead. Keep reading.
Verse
where was you at?
15.
Okay, go ahead.
Verse 15. She delivered the righteous people and blameless seed from the nation that oppressed them. Verse 16. She entered into the soul of the servant of the Lord and withstood dreadful kings and wonders and signs.
Right. So this is talking about who?
Mary?
No, Moses. It's talking about Moses now. Go ahead.
Verse 17. Render to the righteous a reward of their labors, guided them in marvelous way.
In a marvelous way.
And was unto them for a cover by day, and a light of the stars in the night session.
The night season.
18. Brought them through the Red Sea and led them through much water.
Right. So y'all see what this is talking about, man? It's talking about like the things that we go through, man. Like the Lord always brought us through, man. Long as we stuck to the Lord, we always came through. We always was resilient. We always won. You know what I'm saying? Through and through. What the Lord is doing is he's laying it out for us. You know what I'm saying? To say, remember Moses, remember Jacob, remember Adam, remember Noah, remember, Joseph, remember Jacob. Like the Lord is basically saying, like, remember all of these stories that you read about. They all came through by sticking to wisdom. Go ahead.
Yeah, me reading the Bible and stuff, God, he is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And when he does things like when he opened the Red Sea for Moses, who was behind Moses is superseded after him? Yeah,
you talking about the Egyptians?
When Moses died, who took over? Elijah?
Joshua. Yeah,
Joshua. Okay, he was almost in the same situation as Moses, but God didn't part it like he did. He made the guys put the Ark of the Covenant inside the water while they standing, and he did it. He didn't do it the exact same way he did it for Moses. You know what I mean? So I think about that sometimes, like if he did it for you, he'd do it for me, maybe in a different way.
Yeah, right.
So like his blessings come in all different ways. We never know how it's going to come, but we know he's able.
Right, exactly. There you go. You know what I'm saying? And that's what that's what this lesson today is trying to show us. Like long as we stick to the Lord, we're gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying? But we got to make sure, like, we got to understand too why we're in this situation too. Like, while we're on the bottom, like what the Lord said, we was at a camp in Trenton, New Jersey last weekend, and my speaking was on, just how we were cursed in the city, how we were cursed in the field. The Lord said, Moses said, he said that the Israelites in the last days, you will be able to tell who they were because they were going to be cursed in the city. Their basket and their store was going to be cursed. Their children was going to get taken away from them. And we see like those are the markers that you can see that completely lines up with the nation of Israel today. Everything that we're going through and everything that we deal with here in America, it's because the Lord is doing it. The reason that you have an oppressor pulling you over and snatching you out the car is because the Lord put them in that position to whip our ass. And salagi for my language. He put them in a position like that because the Lord wants us to change. Right. And if it takes Esau having to kill your grandma, or Esau having to kill an unarmed man, an unarmed pregnant woman, an unarmed man here, an unarmed man there, it'll keep happening because the Lord wants us to come back, and we're hard-headed. And the only way we learn is through death. That's how the Lord pleads with all flesh. He doesn't plead with us by saying, please do this. You know how we know not to have sex without condoms? Because a lot of us died of AIDS. A lot of us, that's how the Lord teaches us, through death. And the Lord doesn't want us, matter of fact, let me keep it biblical. We learn through the knowledge of good and evil. Just like Adam and Eve did. That's how we learn. We learn through the Lord's bad side. And we're not supposed to learn like that. We're supposed to learn from his good side. So he said, don't do it, just don't do it. Don't eat pork, don't do it. But you want to eat pork? All right, no sweat. You're going to be that old lady that's in the church with them big fat legs and the big fat ankles that can't barely walk because you got blood clots and you got diabetes. Go ahead.
I had a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and
give him the mic so people go online.
I had a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and we was talking about the law, and we was talking about the grace period, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yes, Christ came to fulfill the law. We're not supposed to be eating certain things. It's in there. It's in Leviticus or whatever. It's in Leviticus, I think. We're not supposed, just because we do eat it, don't mean it's not consequences. Right. Shrimp and all this, all this stuff that we're not supposed to be eating. We ain't eat it. They say, oh, as long as you bless it, it's okay. That's, I felt some kind of way about it.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not true.
Right. You're absolutely right about that. The book of Leviticus tells us that you're not supposed, when Christ came to fulfill the law, he came to do it. He came to do it. He had to tell them because they thought that the law he was changing it somehow. And that's why he said, I come not to destroy the prophets. You know what I mean? I came not to destroy, but to fulfill. I came not to destroy what they laid down before me. I came to do it. And that's what Christ taught us. When he came, he taught us how to keep the law. Because before, we didn't know how to keep it. We didn't know the spirit behind it. It's just like, okay, today, right? I like to use up-to-date, examples. Like, okay, the speed limit is 60, 65, or 55, right? Most people are like, man, they just trying to keep me from going slow. No, they're not trying to keep you from going fast. Excuse me. They're not trying to keep you from going fast. With the reason that the speed limit is 50 because they don't want you to go too fast and kill somebody. That's the point of the law. Christ came to give us the spirit of the law and how to keep it. You get my point? So when you had the Pharisees saying, man, look at him eating corn on the Sabbath, right? He had to tell them, look, Sabbath was for the man, not man for the Sabbath. He had to come and tell them situations. Remember when David was hungry and David ate the showbread? You get my point? Will you leave your ox and they say, we can't do nothing on the Sabbath. Would you leave your ox? If you seen your brother's ox in the ditch, would you leave it in there on the Sabbath or would you help him get it out? You get my point? Like he had to teach them the spirit behind the law. Like when they would say, what was that other one? What was that one? When in the time of the Maccabees, the Maccabean Revolution, when those brothers died on the Sabbath day because they didn't fight. Because they thought, oh, we ain't supposed to do nothing on the Sabbath. And guess what the Greeks did? Came right in there and killed everybody on the Sabbath. But what did Mattathias say? Nah, we gonna fight. You get my point? Because he understood the spirit behind it. The Sabbath ain't for you to sit like this, like some Jewish man. You know what I mean? The Sabbath is for you. It's a day of rest. It's for employers. And so that on that day, that employer has to kindle his own fire. That employer has to clean his own steps off, his own yard. He got to do his own work. And the animals get the rest. You get my point? Like that's the day that the Lord gave us, that we can take it and we can rest. And when he says, when Christ said, and also the Son of Man is also the Lord of the Sabbath, people will be like, well, see, only Christ can do that. No, we're the Son of Man too. Right. We're the Son of Man. When he said, what did he say? And also the Son of Man is also the Lord of the Sabbath, meaning what? You are the Lord of the Sabbath. You can do what you want to do on the Sabbath. It's not, when our people, they mistake it because they say, well, see, you're not supposed to do nothing on the Sabbath. So let me just cook and not cook anything on the Sabbath. Let's not do anything. I remember this one chick, she was like, I don't have sex or nothing. I was like, damn, all right, well, hey, man, your husband cool with that. She's like, I don't have sex on the Sabbath. I don't eat nothing on the Sabbath. I don't do nothing on the Sabbath. You know, okay. Go ahead, sis.
That sounds like oppression.
Yeah. Saturday. What? Yeah, but you know, you got Israelites out there that do that. But the thing is, that's what Christ came to do. He came to teach us that the laws and statutes and commandments are not grievous. They're not something that makes you like, damn, I can't do that. No, it's cool. You can't eat pork. All right, you can't eat pork bacon. But guess what? We got beef bacon. We got turkey bacon. You know, you can't eat pork, but you got steak. You got lamb. You got other options. You get my point? It's not bad. You know, you don't lie to me. I don't lie to you. You don't see with my wife. I don't see with yours. You get my point? I loan you money. You don't charge me interest. You know, I loan you money. I don't charge you interest. It's not hard. And the laws that apply to you are the ones that's gonna apply to you. Some laws ain't gonna apply to you, like farming laws or fabrics, two separate fabrics, and how you deal with that type of stuff. Some of that stuff might not apply to you, and some stuff will. Go ahead.
I always wonder when you have that conversation with Christians about what you can eat, like this. I'm not sure what your name is.
Ezra.
Like Ezra was saying, they say, well, you can eat pork, you just bless it. But when you ask them, didn't Christ keep the law when he was here? He went to the Passover. He said, oh, I don't know about that. I don't know if Christ kept the law as well.
Right.
They don't ever answer that question when you tell them that that's not true. You can't eat pork. And Christ came to show us how to keep the law, and he kept the law. There's scripture showing that he was at the Passover.
Yeah, Christ kept the law, but he was all, you know, it was always, you know, Adam too. You know what I'm saying? Like he went through the same stuff that we go through. You know what I mean? Like he suffered, like, you know, like people don't realize it, man. Like when you're on drugs, right? And you stop doing drugs, it hurts. It hurts your body. You know what I'm saying? You got to go through, you know, those withdrawals. And then like when you're going through, like, say you're a person who eats a lot, you know, might have that issue. You know, it hurts not to eat. You know what I'm saying? Because it makes you feel good to eat. You get my point? I know it makes me feel good. I eat and go straight to sleep. That's it. That's the only thing I got to stop, Chris. I got to stop eating and going to sleep. As soon as I eat, it's a wrap. You know, like when I go, like if I go out on a date, it has to be movie then a dinner. It can't be the opposite way around. It can't be dinner and a movie. It's wrap. As soon as we get to the movie, it's done. But my rib was just like, you would sleep the whole movie. I'm in there snoring. It's quiet in the movie theater. It's quiet. I'm in there snoring in the back. But yeah, so keep reading, man. We're gonna end it out. All right, just keep reading and go ahead and finish it out. We're gonna end it.
Let me start at 18 or 19.
Go ahead and start at 18.
Verse 18. Brought them through the Red Sea and led them through much water. Verse 19. But she drowned their enemies and cast them up out of the bottom of the deep. Verse 20. Therefore the righteous spoiled the ungodly and praised thy holy name, O Lord, and magnified with one accord thine hand that fought for them. Verse 21. For wisdom opened the mouth of the dumb and made the tongues of them that cannot speak
eloquent. You see that? It made them eloquent. Meaning, like, when we all came in here, we was all like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we went over here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yo, let me see that. You know what I'm saying? Christ was like this. You know what I'm saying? Right? But when you got wisdom of the Lord, you started speaking better.
Yeah.
It started making you more eloquent. You started seeing certain situations and you started looking at them and thinking of them critically. And you started to see, like, okay, this is actually making me smarter. When you're in the room and you start to lay this wisdom down, you're the smartest person in the room. You know what? Like when I started dropping it today, right? Because it's my last week in trucking school. I started dropping it more heavy of the Israelite stuff, right? I started dropping it. You know, people started coming on to me. What do you think about this? What do you think about aliens? What do you think about Project Bluebeam? What do you think about that? You get my point? It's because the wisdom that we speak, when you go into a room, it makes people inquire about you. It makes people see, like, this brother here is eloquent. He's an eloquent speaker. This brother right here has knowledge and wisdom. You know what I'm saying? And that's how the other nations will look at us. They would say, let me talk to these people because these people have wisdom and knowledge. But, you know, in order for us to get to that point, we got to understand what the Lord is trying to do for us. We got to see the people that came before us and the things that they went through and understand that the things that we're going to go through, they came through. As long as we lean on the Lord, there should be no reason why we should fail. All right. I think that's it, man. I think we're going to wrap it up. Anybody got any questions or are we good to go? Yeah, we can go? No, we can't go. We can go?
We can go.
All right, no sweat. We can go. We can get out of here.
We can go, sir.
All right, no sweat. We out of here. I'm going to turn the class over to Preaching Officer Mataziala.
You got me, sir.
Yeah, right now. Oh, and I thought I saw some food in here. I could be mistaken. Let's get a sister a hand. I knew it was something. I just didn't know what it was. All right, no sweat.
All right. ISGPK security announcements. Rules for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes to the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to learn and share themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister is interested in a particular person, they are to seek counsel from the heads. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8-10, means 10th in Hebrew, ma'asher. That's 10% for every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Priest funds, free will offering for the priest is not mandatory. It's whatever amount you like to donate. Upcoming holy convocations, we have the Feast of First Fruits coming up June 17th. That will be held in Smyrna, Delaware, 202 North DuPont Boulevard. If you're in Delaware, that will be in Smyrna, Delaware, at our Smyrna location, at our Smyrna school. All right. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, or scarf. With that being said, men of Israel, Amijah, which means stand. Stand. Men of Israel, Amijah Shabbat, Amijah, Barak, Yahweh.
Can you tell the brother what you said?
What we said was Most High in the name of Yahweh Shai, which is whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, bless you.
Right. Most High in the name of Christ bless you.
Yeah, in the name of Christ bless you. Yajmatah, which means hands down. Saw, which means to turn. We're going to get a sister the courtesy salute. Sisters Amijah, which means to stand. Men of Israel, Amijah Shabbat, Amijah, Barak, and what we said was, Most High, watch over you in the name of Yahweh Shai, in the name of who the world ignorant calls Jesus Christ. Yajmatah means hands down. Class dismissed.
Okay.